So in this video, I'm gonna go over the 4 main reasons why a woman ignores you. Now, just as a disclaimer, guys, this involves a girl that you've been involved with in some way, shape, or form. Not just a girl you texted once and she just texted you back. Not a girl you just see at school and you have a crush on and she never talked to you. Not a girl that you just texted on a dating app, she never responded back. No, those are completely different situations, and they typically mean that the women don't find you that attractive, you don't really take care much of your appearance, or you just have zero charisma and zero game with women. And I'm going to link several videos, at least one or more, in the description below for that. But if those don't apply to you and you've actually been dealing with a woman for some time, or went out with her for one date, or there's some back and forth between you two, then this is the video for you if you've gotten ignored by a woman who you are really interested in. So reason number 1, you are way too boring and way too predictable, therefore she lost interest. Dude, women absolutely hate boredom. Let me let you in on a little secret. Women absolutely hate boredom. They like intrigue, they like spice, they like things that are, interesting, attractive, things that are different, new experiences, new this, new that. They like novelty. Women absolutely hate boredom. The more you're gonna bore her, the more likely she is to ignore you. So let's give a few examples of how you were potentially boring and how you can prevent that. Say you're out on a date with a woman, or you're even texting her or calling her, and then you guys start talking about your interests. And here you are, she's asking you about, what you do for work, what you do for fun, blah, blah, blah. And you just tell her, let's say I'm an accountant. Yeah, so what do you do for work? I'm an accountant. Oh, what do you do for fun? I like to watch Netflix sometimes. Sometimes I play my PS5. Occasionally I go out and leave the house. I signed up for a gym, but I haven't gone there in 6 months, maybe twice in the last 6 months. There's not much going on in my life. Even if you don't say there's not much going on in my life, just by what you're saying, the words that are coming out of your mouth, she could tell that you are a boring dude, bro. Or when you're texting her, for example, hey, how are you? She says, I'm great, how are you? At first she was showing you enthusiasm, but then later, your text became so predictable, and the whole point of a text is to get her in person, right? To set up a date to see her in person, or it's a phone call, to go on a phone call to see her in person. Eventually, oh, hey, how are you? She says, I'm doing good, you? Doing good. What are you up to? 5 hours later. Oh, nothing, just chilling with my family. I just finished dinner. I'm about to do some laundry and some dishes. Afterwards, I'm gonna get some sleep. How about you? And you're like, NM, nothing much, just chilling. Oh, what'd you do today? I just worked. That's fine for like one day, but if that's all you text and you're not doing anything to meet the girl in person, or to schedule the next date, or to say something exciting that happens, some novelty, some good news, she's gonna lose interest, bro, because you're way too predictable and way too boring. Sometimes you have to spice things up. You can make anything up. I don't know. Let's say she was talking to you and then you got her name and then you're like, oh, Ashley, oh, your name's Ashley. And then you're like, oh yeah, no wonder that's your name. She's like, oh wait, what do you mean by no wonder? And you're like, oh, I can't tell an Ashley girl. Like, you don't know the secret about what girls whose name are Ashley, how they're like. And then for a second, she's gonna be like, wait, what the hell? Then you play around with it for a few. And then later when she's just like, wait, seriously, what do you mean? You just be like, honestly, they say that every girl whose name's Ashley is a bad kisser. And then she's like, that is not true, I'm a great kisser. You sure? Okay, let's see. And then you go ahead and try to go for the kiss. And then one of two things are gonna happen. Either A, she's going to kiss you to kind of prove that she's a good kisser, or B, she's gonna be like, nah, that game sucks. And then you're gonna be like, you're just saying it sucks because you're clearly a horrible kisser. Because if you're a good kisser, you would have went in for it and proved it. And obviously you're joking, you're being playful, you're being that way over the phone. Typically, it's way better to do this over the phone than by text, because text could be misunderstood in many ways. But that's what you want to focus on, not necessarily what I just said. I just made that up right now. Like, I would probably say that over the phone to a girl if that's how I felt in that moment. But you could just, don't be so predictable. Tell her I found some interesting news about you. Tell her what? Be like, I found out that, and just make up any crazy shit. Be like, I found out that you're gonna be, let's say she's a nurse. I found out that you're gonna be a perfect nurse for me and I have a perfect plan for that. And then she's gonna be like, how? Be like, oh, I can't tell. Be like, I can't tell you. I'll tell you about it in person if you earn it. Some crazy, just being playful about it. You don't have to be, it's not about what you're saying. It's just about not being super predictable all the time. And also, you don't have to, text the way I just did every single time, but sometimes you need to put that spice in there to make it interesting and intriguing, make it nice and playful, instead of boring and predictable, just like every other guy. Reason number 2, you do not have the balls to speak your mind, or to be open, or to call her out on something that she did that you disagree with, or to walk away if she disrespects you. When those things happen, she loses absolute respect, and she loses all respect she had for you, because she knows in the back of her mind that you're just agreeing with her just for the sake of not being a disagreeable person, just because you're too afraid to kind of shake things up. Instead of speaking your mind authentically, for example, she asks you, okay, where would you like to eat? And then she suggests somewhere, and then you're like, nah, I don't really like that place. Let's go somewhere else. Instead of being authentic and saying, you know what, I don't really like that place, but let's choose somewhere that both of us would like. Instead of saying something like that in a totally respectful way, you go ahead and say no at first, but then she's like, no, please, I want to go there. And it's like not her birthday or anything, just a regular day. Tell her, no, let's choose something we both agree upon so that, both of us are happy. That's how you should do it. But instead, she keeps pushing you, and you're just like, fine, I'm going to go there. And then you're not even saying it like that. You're saying it in such a way where you're so fearful of just pissing her off, because in the back of your mind, you're doing this because you are afraid of losing her. Maybe you, the viewer, right now are doing this because, you're afraid of losing your girl, bro. Let's be honest. If that's the case, you need to grow some balls and always come from a position of authenticity and congruence. If the girl did something that pissed you off or that made you feel like you were disrespected, in a respectful way, tell her, you know what, I disagreed with that, and I felt like that was disrespectful. Maybe you don't see it that way, but to be honest, I felt like that was disrespectful. And then when she asks you why, just, explain it without getting angry, and then move on about your day. It could be about anything. It could be about her hanging out with another guy. When you two are in a relationship, she's hanging out with another guy alone, and if you're the kind of guy who wouldn't be okay with it, go ahead and tell her, be like, listen, I did not like the fact that you hung out with this guy alone, and to be honest, I find it disrespectful. Just tell her that and see how she reacts. And then if she's not willing to change, you have to have the balls as a man to either A, walk away, or B, continue living that way inauthentically when you hate that, but you're just doing it because you're afraid of losing the girl. It's up to you to decide. I'm not going to tell you what to decide upon, but you know exactly what the right answer is. So when you speak your mind, and when you're authentic with a girl, and when you call her out on her behavior when she's disrespectful, that's actually going to turn her on, because she knows that you have principles and you have the fucking balls to be honest about the things that you believe in and that you disagree with. Watch. Reason number 3, she feels misunderstood by you. And this assumes that you two have been, in contact, or there's been some type of rapport that was built between you guys for some period of time. And so you made her feel misunderstood, and because she feels misunderstood, she's kind of withdrawing her attention from you because she doesn't really want to get into, detail, and at the same time, she doesn't know how you're going to react. And also on top of that, women tend to be more indirect than men in general. So when she's behaving this way, it's kind of an indirect way to tell you, hey, I feel hurt right now, I feel misunderstood, so that's why I don't really feel turned on by you. So instead of confronting you about it, I'm just going to withdraw, and hopefully you get the hint. In this case, man, this is an exception to the rule. It's your job as a man to kind of break that down and be like, you know what, I've noticed you've been distant recently. Can you explain why? What happens? I'm just curious why, something like that. And then if you two have been in contact and rapport has been built, you've been out at least a couple times, and you ask a question like that doesn't make you beta or low value. No, it's actually the complete opposite. It makes you high value, because here's this girl, you're asking her in a masculine way what's bothering her or why there's been a change in behavior. And you've noticed, here's actually another thing. If this didn't really happen out of the blue, but when you two were together, you've noticed a change in her body language. She closed her body language more like this instead of being open. She became less receptive to you touching her, to anything physical going on. Her body language is turned away from you instead of towards you. Her tonality is less enthusiastic. She doesn't really light up as much when she sees you in person. You kind of feel as though she feels as if it's a burden to talk to you. And so when that happens, yeah, then it's your job as a man to figure out what happened. And then, if you legitimately feel like you've wronged her, be like, you know what, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know you felt that way about this, but I'll try my absolute best not to do this again. I didn't know it bothered you that way. Maybe you said something that to her was insensitive, but you didn't see it that way. You know what I mean? So in that case, it's always best to have open communication, at the same time be man enough to admit when you're wrong, especially if she convinced you that you're wrong. I myself, I hate admitting when I'm wrong, but if you've convinced me legitimately that I've hurt your feelings and that, something happened, then I'll gladly admit it. But as long as you forgive me about it. But if you keep giving me a pain in the ass about it, I'm not the type of guy who likes that. But let's not go off on a tangent. If you feel like you've wronged her and after she gave you a good explanation and you did that, then that's definitely a healthy thing that you guys can, work on to improve things. And then therefore she's going to really be turned on afterwards because you showed her that you now understand her instead of misunderstand her. Reason number 4, which is the absolute reason, but it does happen in real life, unfortunately, is that she met another guy who she's more into and more attracted to. It happens to the best of us, brother. If this happened to you, the best you could do is literally absolutely nothing. And when this happens, if and when this happens, this is when it's completely out of the blue. You had at least one date with her, maybe 2 dates, everything was going great. And then the very next day, no signs, no body language signs if you saw her in person, no signs over the phone, no signs in any way, shape, or form that she has been turned off. But then out of nowhere, the texts are getting way shorter. There's no enthusiasm. There's no emojis. I know as stupid and childish as that sounds, she's not really showing you that she's enthusiastic about talking to you or about connecting with you in any way. You've noticed that all of that is now gone. More than likely, 9 times out of 10, if it's not a personal situation in her life, such as, families are getting involved, there's drama in the family, her friend's brother passed away, God forbid, someone is in the hospital. If it's not one of those, and it's out of nowhere, there's a good chance that it is another guy. And in this case, like I said, the best thing you could do is absolutely nothing. Don't even ask her about it. When in doubt, man, just work on yourself. I swear to God, like even in this case, when in doubt, AKA when you don't know what happened, just work on yourself. You're better off that way because working on yourself is literally the best investment you can ever make. Whether you have girls in your life who are giving you attention, work on yourself. Whether you're married, you work on yourself. Whether you have a girl who's giving you so much attention that you're absolutely crazy about, work on yourself. In all cases and in every single case, work on yourself, man. She met another guy in this case. I know it kind of sucks, but you have to be more mature to realize that, hey, there's gonna be guys out there who a woman likes more than you, and that is completely fine. You're not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. She's not meant to be everybody's cup of tea either. So don't put her on that pedestal like she is some goddess, because that's what a lot of guys do, even though they don't say they do that, but mentally they do that, and that's the worst thing. You have to acknowledge and recognize that and have the humility to understand that you're not going to be everybody's type. And sometimes in life, even after your best effort, after all the charisma you've put in and the best way you put yourself out there, the best way you present yourself, the best appeal, the best sex appeal, the best clothes, the best body, the best beard, the best hair, even despite all of that, some women are just not going to like you, and that is fine. Or some girls are not going to be, super into you as much as possible, and that is fine. That's basically the point of dating. You go out to see who you connect with and who you don't connect with, and then, with time, hopefully, you have an abundance mindset to understand that if it doesn't work out with this woman, no problem. That woman's gonna like me more. If it doesn't work out with that woman, no problem. That woman will like me more, and so on and so forth, brother. That's how you gotta think, man. That's how you gotta think. You gotta really drill this point in your mind, bro. You have to have the confidence and the genuine, strong belief that if it doesn't work out with this girl, or if this girl doesn't like me, no problem. I'm working on myself anyways, and it's her loss. And you have to legitimately believe that. And the only way you're going to believe that is if you truly start working on yourself. And like I said, I'll link at least one video in the description below about how to get more charismatic and, better able to create rapport with women. And I promise you, man, when you work on yourself, there's nothing to lose. But anyways, let's recap and go over the 4 points. First point, if you're way too boring and available and predictable, you give her no chance to miss you. She's gonna see you as boring. We talked about how to change it. Number 2, you don't have the balls to speak your mind or call her out or walk away. She loses respect. We talked about what to do to gain the respect. Number 3, she feels misunderstood by you and it's turning her off. She doesn't want to talk to you in those cases. It's your job as a man to dig deeper and figure that shit out. Number 4, she met another guy who she's more attracted to. In this case, you do absolutely nothing about it. You double down on the gym, double down on your looks, and make her regret what she chose over you, and have another woman who is way cooler, way more attractive, way better personality than her, and just work on yourself. Do it for your brother, and most importantly, do it for yourself. Peace.